And welcome everyone for another video. And recently we had the PCC 9 group stage, and the winner of the group stage, so like the people that qualify as the first seed, is D-Lab. And so that kind of prompted me to say like, oh, maybe I can do like a series of 5 videos where I cover every single player of D-Lab. As we can see here, we have Legionator, Toasty, Happy Picker, Conte, and Lobber, and try to showcase a little bit those players. Once again, I'm going to try to focus on ranked game because I think that's what is more transcribable for ourselves. But here, Toasty not playing a lot of ranked game recently, so I'm going to cover the match they play against Professors during the second day of the PCC 9, where it's Toasty Legionator against Crazy Full Survivor. And here it's an interesting matchup because I think that's a matchup we can see quite a lot in ranked when Zinx is not banned. We have a Dekker Twin Blast against a Zinx Strongo, and so I'm quite curious to see how they actually play that lane. Of course, here it's slightly different because you have communication, but to be fair, as dual lane, potentially you can play with your dual lane partner, so I still believe there is a lot of value to be extracted. And here we can see we started with the Guardian Crest, plus a Codex, the Codex to be able to be a little bit aggressive, a little bit more damage in that regard, and Guardian Crest as well, because you get a lot of health regen, a lot of tankiness. But you can see how like they're kind of playing passive, because the early level like Drongo and Zinx I think are better than Dekker and Twin Blast, simply because like Twin Blast is not very good in the early levels, and the Dekker is not as damaging as Zinx. So Zinx, it's much easier for Zinx to guarantee her damage, to guarantee her stun. So here you can see that they were just like playing kind of slow, but they don't want to hard push neither. The early levels, they understand that their matchup is not really at their advantage, so they're just gonna play it kind of slow, guaranteeing that Legionator get all the last hit. When we get some opportunity to poke, we try to go for it, and here they're looking to maybe crash that wave, trying to apply a little bit of pressure, and we see that Survivor Crazy Fool are trying to match that to make the crash not very easy. And here a very good stun on the timing. As you see, enemy wave is gone, so that's a timing that Toasty can go for a stun, because he cannot really be, they cannot fight into them, because it's still like a cannon plus 2 range minion. So if they fight into them in that timing, that means they're gonna lose the trade. And so that's a perfect timing to throw a stasis bomb, because as a Dekker you have to watch out for the correct moment that you can use your stasis bomb, that the enemy team cannot counter engage you in case you miss. So here we keep applying a little bit of pressure. They kind of freeze the lane. Here we're looking at if there was like any gank from Grati. It's 320. They're on the blue side, so the jungler could have come after the 4 camp looking for a gank. So that's the timing that if you know the enemy jungler was on red, that's a timing you really have to watch out in the dual lane. And so that's why like they didn't play more aggressive, and we see that Toasty was rotating to play some ward and also ward from behind. Here they're trying to rotate towards the gold buff, but they're not gonna like fully force it because Crazy Fool came to try to contest it. And so we're just gonna go for the reset in that situation. Reset together with your carry, so we both spend the gold, and that means that then we will be able to come back, which kind of offer the gold buff to the enemy team. But at the same time we see that Grati was clearing the blue and the 3 camp, so you cannot really force it. Like if the enemy jungler is here, you cannot risk it. We have finished the spiked birch, so we go immediately for a bit of anti-heal. We're facing a Zinx in lane, so having the anti-heal early makes complete sense. And here we're just gonna like once again try to last it. As the support, since the enemy dual lane is not here, you don't have much to do. And here the wave is, I think, bouncing back slightly towards them. Yeah, you have 4 range minions, so the wave is bouncing back. This is why Toasty and Legionator are not really. And here they try to be a little bit aggressive on Survivor, but just with ability, so they don't grab the aggro of the minions and kind of deny Survivor the ability to step forward to be able to get some last hit. That's at the cost of Happy Picker. Happy Picker first blood for the enemy team because Zinx did a heavy rotation. But now they will have to maybe come back to be able to crash that wave. As you can see, like Survivor is still in a bit of trouble because now the wave is gonna advance. Crazy Fool is back, but he's not full health. They probably need to trim a little bit the wave, otherwise it's gonna be very easy to crash for the enemy team. As you can see, Survivor is going with the old Rusty immediately. Lakenator is starting to remove a little bit of the range, but now it's a good timing for Conte to arrive. We get the cage first, then we try to go for the stun. Unfortunately, the stun doesn't connect, but the guide grenade is absolutely perfect. They probably had the information that Zinx didn't have flash, probably used the flash in the gank against Happy Picker in the mid lane. And now you can see they go for that gank on the perfect timing because they kind of keep the wave, and now they still have the freeze going for them. But now they have the freeze going for them while the enemy support is dead, which means Survivor cannot at all farm. So here, of course, it's a little bit more advanced playstyle when it comes to it because we're in comp, so they can manage with their jungler. Conte come at the perfect timing, but they created the whole opportunity for Conte to be here because they do a good freeze and then they engage, get the kill on the target that doesn't have flash, which means that now we have full control, full wave management control, and the poor like Survivor cannot farm, and so probably here Lakenator is starting to pull ahead, 50 CS to 42. In terms of leveling abilities, ooh, Crazy Fool step forward. He didn't know that Toasty was here. Once again, you can see like the utilization of the spell is cage, then stun, then beam. Toasty like engage with the cage because then that limit the movement of the enemy opponent. Here the Zinx, and because we limit the option of movement, that means that then the stasis bomb is much easier to land. So when you can start a fight with the cage, start with the cage because it makes everything else easier afterwards. And here you can see they can keep like the freeze going. It's probably gonna like start to break at some point because they fight quite a lot, and now the wave is kind of even, but it's closer to their tower. But still, like they managed to build like a little bit of a lead, like 10 CS lead. They might even deny that cannon. No, the cannon not gonna die. So 10 CS lead overall, but you can see here Toasty stepping forward, try to make Survivor not comfortable to step forward to maybe deny one more CS. And then like they last it once again that wave because now they have a big wave, and so they're probably gonna try to crash the next wave because they don't want to remain exposed for a long time. And here you can see they try to go for the stun with the big wave. Now they're gonna beam the wave, and as I was mentioning, we already put 3 points in the Photon Disruptor to try to get like wave pressure. And here you can see how easy it was to crash that wave for Toasty and Lakenator, and that's because they lasted the previous wave to stack up a big wave and then they go for the crash. Immediately, we see that Grati was ganking on the offlane. They managed to get the kill on Lobber, but since we have pressure on the dual lane and the enemy jungler is on the opposite side of the map, that means that immediately the dual lane rotates for that Fangtooth, and that's gonna be a free Fangtooth for them. Wave is fully even, so once again, you can see here, Lakenator not going too fast, just slow pushing, but here they find an opportunity because the Zinx has gone back to base, and so immediately they punish that with a nice rotation by Toasty. Here they have to be careful though because they don't have mana on either of those characters. Maybe they can still go for like a beam for the next wave, and it's not a cannon wave, but it might be complicated to fully crash. So here you can see Toasty using all his mana on the wave, but now they don't have any mana at all, so they're gonna accept that to leave the freeze here for Crazy Fool Survivor. They know they cannot really like force that wave to go on their tower, so they prefer to go for the gold buff instead of staying there fighting, exposing themselves to a bad to a rotation for the enemy team. And this is also something we can see like here. Top players, they understand their limit. They know, okay, we don't have mana because we try to go for a kill, we get the shrapnel cannon out. It was close call, but then we don't have the resources to fully crash that wave. So we're not gonna force it, and we're gonna try to get the maximum out of the situation by getting that gold buff and then keeping our tempo up, because maybe we deny like a few CS to Lakenator with that freeze, but now we are back with a full Tented Scepter, with a full Infernum. It's against Marshall and Vanquisher, so it's still like fightable for the enemy team. But it's still not there pretty strong. It's a pretty good power spike, and we can see Conte coming back again. So this freeze is gonna be broken no matter what. Here it's not really like a good opportunity to find, or we try to go for the stun, a little bit of poke, and here you can see like the poke starting to pile up with the Phantom Disruptor level 4, and here they're pretty confident to attack that tower because they have Conte in the jungle that completely cover any rotation of the enemy team. And I think here they're looking at maybe going for a dive, that's why like here Toasty go for the beam on Crazy Fool to try to cancel his reset. Conte was maybe looking for a dive, but no, we got the rotation from Gratis, so they have to be careful. So we're probably gonna just crash that wave, keep maybe a bit of pressure onto the tower, but here we got the shield, and that's gonna be the end of that action. Still, they saw that Grati has gone back to base, so they can still like apply some pressure on this tower. They know that the Bellica is in mid. Grati actually like faked his recall, but so here Toasty still like being vigilant. They know the Zinx has gone back to base. So sorry, it wasn't Grati that recall, it was the Zinx. And so now they know that they have a small window to maybe get this tower. And so they're gonna get this tower. You can see how Toasty walked away from the tower range to guarantee that Lekinator got the full local gold to ensure that his carry is like scaling as fast as he can, because a carry that gets super far ahead is a very scary endeavor for the enemy team. And so that's those little things you should be looking for as a support. You see, like, every time Toasty threw a stasis bomb, it was never in a situation that he can actually be punished for it. Always looking at getting good wave control, and once they got good wave control and got good opportunity, they try to go for the stun. Here, once again, he go for a stun, but if the stun connect, it's pretty good poke, and if the stun doesn't connect, well, they are not gonna be punished for it because they were pretty far away. So here we have to be careful. We're starting to be kind of low on mana, so... And we're getting like pressured a little bit in terms of the wave. I think we're probably looking for a reset in that situation because we want to spend the gold. We want to get our mana back before we get to the Fengtus. Here, once again, we're playing with teammates, so we can go for that play. Once again, trying to get Lekinator ahead. It's Conte's on the other side of the map, so this 5 camp cannot be farmed. So instead of fighting in the lane, when you cannot really like fight here, we decide to just go for farming the 5 camp. Then the wave is probably going to push on the tower. And here Toasty is looking for a little rotation. Wave is pretty close to tower, so we don't need to protect Lekinator that much. And so we're trying to go for a timing, and then we realize to surprise completely Bry. And so that's going to be a lot of damage. We're waiting for to guarantee the beam, but unfortunately we missed the beam. So Bry doing a good job. Grati is arriving, and that's probably not going to be a kill anymore. We have to disengage. They're going to turn onto Happy Picker. Zinx finally did the rotation, and we have to walk away. So I really like the idea because it was kind of even, this rotation by Toasty. It's on the timing that also Lekinator is not really at the risk of dying, and he's a Twin Blast, so he can keep farming with the Vortex Grenade. And so he kind of completely surprised Bry by a good, weird rotation timing that still made sense, but wasn't like super obvious because the enemy team was knocking at the door of the tower. And then like the execution, unfortunately, we don't connect with the second beam. If we connect with the second beam, I think that's a kill. But then we managed to get out without dying, so at least that's what matters. But you see how, because like the fight was so long, then the enemy team get time to rotate and make the situation a bit complicated. So here we get the priority for the Fengtus. We're just gonna use the cage, the containment fence, for disengage purposes. Here is just to guarantee that everyone get away safely for just the cost of your cage, because you're not gonna use your cage to fight. So far so good. In terms of itemization, as we can see, Riftwalker has been selected. Personally, I feel like on Dekker, if you go Guardian Crest, you should always go for Riftwalkers. It enables so much for the kit. And then we have Talented Scepter, naturally, because we're playing against Zinx in lane, so we want to be able to fight that. And then we started to work towards the Polar Threads, probably to go for the Riftwalker. Riftwalker as a second item makes you like very complicated to kill. Here, you can like the Terra cannot really be a danger for you anymore. The Steel neither. Bellica, you touch like all our abilities with the Riftwalker. So it's a very, very good defensive item. Here we're looking to be aggressive, but good counter aggression. But once again, that was kind of a bait for the rotation from Conte. So here we're gonna stay. We're trying to wait, try to go for the stun. Unfortunately, the stun doesn't connect. Conte is still going in. He's gonna get punished probably. And yeah, good turnaround. The damage of Zinx plus Drongo is nothing to scoff at. Like, they have really strong burst. And unfortunately here, ooh, nice stun. That's a good poke, but we have no mana left for Toasty. So here, it's gonna be a little bit rough. They're gonna look like for the dive. But Lacunator disengaging correctly. And here we have Survivor taking a little bit of tower damage. Toasty remaining safe. Gratty take a lot of damage in the back. This dive was maybe a little bit too ambitious by Gratty. And so now we should be able to defend this tower because they're kind of all low, so they cannot keep pressuring anymore. And so here, once again, it's not super complicated to play efficient support in many scenarios. It's just you have to understand when to use your ability. Here we see we tried to be aggressive on the timing Conte was around. I think there was a slight miscommunication though, because Conte got fully around towards the 3 camp. Well, I think Toasty was expecting him to come from the mid, from the river fog wall. So, like, they offered a timing for Professors to be able to be aggressive, deal a lot of damage to Lacunator and Toasty, which meant that Toasty and Lacunator weren't as safe to be aggressive afterwards. And so then when Conte finally goes in, it's complicated for them to fully follow up. So it could have been better executed, but still, you understand the idea. So Galaxy Grave has been completed. Galaxy Grave kind of offering you like also fast rotation. The celerity passive is kind of nice, 10% movement speed while you're out of combat, which allow you to be much like mobile on the map at that moment at the 17-minute marks when you're looking more for rotation. And here you can keep, ooh, we try to go for the long range stun, probably crazy full. Communicating, and here as you can see, since we use the Galaxy Graves, we still have the rocket boots to disengage afterwards, making you like very evasive, very safe. Ooh, crazy full, work forward, very nice being to get the slow, and then we get the ultimate. Perfect timing on the Iron Strike, and crazy full is dead. So that's also something you should be like looking for as a Dekker is, yeah, as we have seen, like Toasty has been playing very like calm and collected so far, but here you see that the crazy fool do a slight misstep forward. He go for the beam, thanks to the beam slow, then he can get the cage, and then that's a kill. Then perfect timing on the revive from Zinx with the Iron Strike, the ultimate, and that's a free kill. And so that's also something you always have to be ready as a Dekker, is if someone like slightly misstep forward, you have a lot of potential to punish them, because the cage can also cut off them from their team. So perfectly executed here by Toasty, and that's a kill. That's a lot of pressure. Allow the rotation of the team. Take control of the whole map. Here you can see we have mid priority. We have like dual lane priority, we have offlane priority simply from a good portion of that aggression on the dual lane, killing Crazy Fool. And so now that allow everyone in the team to reset on the side of D-Lab, which will allow them to be at this Fangtooth on their own accord while spending most of their money. Like you can see here, we have Lacunator with Perforator finish. That's a huge power spike. We have Tented Guard finish for a low burst. 3 items on 2 people, while on the other side, there is nobody at 3 items yet. So this third Fangtooth team fight is gonna be so rough because they got that priority, and so they could reset, spend their gold, and now they're ready to fight. Here we try to go on to Happy Picker. Happy Picker, very nice stasis. We got Lobber zoning the rest of the team, and we can see Toasty trying to look for maybe the aggression. Unfortunately, Colossal Blow at the same timing, we go for the Flash Riftwalker, so it's not gonna be perfect, but you can see how like D-Lab, they just stayed together, collected as a team. As soon as Gratty go into the backline, he gets stunned immediately by Toasty. But you can see how he doesn't use his cage immediately. He keep like some resources. And then as soon as the threat of Gratty has been removed, we go immediately for a Flash Riftwalker place to try to keep the fight going. Unfortunately, Colossal Blow go at the exact same moment, so it kind of fizzled completely. But we take care of the first threat, and then we look immediately for the next play. And as soon as we get like the target from the Colossal Blow dead, then we turn again to the next target. And you can see how flawless it was for the whole D-Lab team to just, okay, this target, this target, this target. And that's how you do successful team fight. You try to not spread, you try to concentrate your firepower on the important target of the enemy team, and you try to do it like together so it's fast and the enemy team doesn't really have much room to react. So here we're working towards the Crescelia with the Spell Slasher and the Mystic Cane. Very good item to get a lot of ability aced. The item by itself gives you a ton, and then the passive is also good. Normally you only need like Galaxy Grief to be very safe. At that moment you can like kind of consider, like for instance, if you want to be more defensive, I think a Spellbreaker if you really need the bubble. But here against the enemy team, they have bad medicine to remove the bubble. And to be honest, most of the ability that is dangerous for you, like Bull Rush, Shield Slam, Seismic Assault, the Hylian Hurl from the Terra, or the Ricochet from the Zinx, like all those ability can be dodged by Galaxy Grave. So I don't think you need more defensive items. That's why like I love the pickup of going a bit more aggressive here with the Cresselia. Offering more ability ace, more mana regen, more power, and of course, like the nice passive to reduce your cooldown. So here we're kind of taking control of the side of the O Prime. As you can see, now the objective that is that bring interest to D-Lab is the O Prime. We're past the 20 minutes mark, so this objective is very important. And you can see that Toasty is gonna play around there. He's not really like looking to play on the other side because he wants to be on this side. Here we're gonna try to go for the stun on Grati. Happy Picker get kind of caught up. Very nice. We're gonna try like to kill Happy Picker. Maybe Happy Picker is dead. So here unfortunately we get caught. We're gonna like try to turn our attention. We're positioning ourselves, trying to get like onto the rest of the fight, and here we start using the abilities. So they got Happy Picker, but at what cost? It has been like very expensive, and not like another after winning his 1v1 on the other side of the map has gone for the rotation. And so like this Epoch being like a big problem for the enemy team. Like they managed to get like a clean kill on the Fae, but then the Sevrog is big, the Zarus was big. Toasty damage is also at that point pretty good, nothing to scoff at. And so here it's mainly like difference that triple Fangtooth plus being pretty far ahead in terms of CS, as we can see, through a pretty good early laning phase. As we can see, we have a 60 CS lead on the carry, while having like a 90 CS lead on the offlane. So offlane and carry are so far ahead that it makes those teamfights very complicated to fight. We're gonna complete the Cresselia. Now we have O Prime on all 5 members. I think Happy Picker got it. They waited for him to respawn, as we can see. And now it's just a matter of executing correctly that O Prime with this triple Fangtooth, the lead accumulated, and just to win that game. So here we can see that Toasty is walking in the jungle. Here I think like the idea is probably to be ready to either go on to Happy Picker, or like you have to be in a central position as a support in those situations. Your role is to be able to react and defend people as fast as you can while collecting information. As a Dekker in the jungle in this scenario, you are very safe, and so you kind of keep yourself in the middle because you don't have a lot of value in pushing wave. Your support, your pushing wave power is pretty weak. So what you should be looking for is actually gathering information for your team, so your team is safe to push wave, and then you can look, oh, very nice stun, a little bit hidden with a perfect cage, and that's Grati, already 70% of his health gone. They're gonna try like to go on to Happy Picker, but you can see how they back out. We still go for like the slow. We get the kill. Now we can go in for the aggression. Unfortunately, we don't connect, and here we can see his teammates were already killing the rest, so he was safe. He keeps zoning the rest. Once again, a good cage. We're waiting for the stun. Good stun, and that's gonna be a dead survivor. So once again, you see how those timing of Stasis Bomb are very good from Toasty. They're kind of slightly hidden, but also at the timing that if he miss, they cannot counter engage on it because it doesn't really overcommit. He just like try to throw it, and if it connects, it's gonna be well. And overall here we end up the game, I think, 1-0 and 11, and just like a perfect textbook game from Toasty and Laconator. Very good control of the wave, some good stun, and I feel like there was nothing really fancy, and I think it's kind of a leitmotif when I cover like those support game of very strong player. It's not about the fancy play, it's about the constant good smart play that will start generating a lead for your team, and then in the end will give you the W.